Jonah Comstock, Editor-in-Chief of Pharma Forum. I'm here at Reuters Pharma USA in Philadelphia, and I'm joined by Brian Hilberdink, the new head of U.S. Human Pharma for Boehringer Ingelheim. Did I say that right?
You got it.
So this is a new job. You were just telling me you were 5 weeks on the job. Tell me about what brought you to BI and sort of, how your journey led you here.
Boehringer, first off, the reason why I'm here is because it has an absolutely fantastic pipeline. And my journey involved many years at Novo Nordisk, so very familiar with the cardiometabolic space, of course, diabetes and obesity. Most recently at Leo Pharma, which is focused on medical dermatology. When I look, however, at Boehringer's portfolio, it goes way beyond cardiometabolic. I mean, we have exciting stuff in cardiometabolic, including getting into the obesity space with a GLP-1 dual agonist, more assets in chronic kidney disease. So really kind of being having a lot of focus in cardio-renal metabolic. But then, pulmonary fibrosis with hopefully a product that will be seen as the first significant innovation in a decade. Oncology, mental health, including even a digital therapeutic, other assets in immunology. I'm probably forgetting something. And just having that opportunity to work with a company with that type of commitment to research and development and now to commercialize those assets, that's why I'm here. Super exciting.
So you talked a lot on stage about the obesity product you guys are working on. It's in phase 3 trials. Did you work on obesity at Novo? Is that do you have deep background in that?
I do have a deep background. In fact, I had the opportunity to launch Wegovy for Novo Nordisk at the time, heading up the sales organization in the US. Previous to that, I was involved with the previous generation of obesity medications that Novo Nordisk had. And I think that my long journey in understanding both type 2 diabetes and obesity has really kind of led me to understand that this is still very much an undertreated disease state. So a lot of questions people will ask is, well, do we need more obesity medications? I mean, is Boehringer late to the game? And the answer is, we're just getting started. I mean, there's 100 million Americans that are living with a weight that would qualify them for what the existing label language is for prescriptions for GLP-1 treatment, but only 2 to 3 million are actually getting an evidence-based pharmacological therapy. So in terms of just the opportunity to help patients get to a healthier weight, but then looking at going beyond obesity into disease states like MASH, fatty liver disease, and understanding more that all weight loss isn't the same. And how do we start now kind of really looking at our data and trying to come up with even, better obesity medications? Well, that's the great challenge, and that's something that, we very much want to kind of play into.
Yeah, you mentioned that MASH is sort of maybe where this product will differentiate itself from some of the other GLP-1s. Talk to me a little bit more about that. Is this like, just tell me more about it.
Well, I think it's very ambitious of Boehringer to be pursuing a MASH indication as part of the phase 3 program. I know that other companies are maybe looking into this area as well, but to include it as part of the phase 3 package is really ambitious. I think what we have to understand is that obesity is a complex cardiometabolic disease, and you really start talking about like fatty organ modification and looking at benefits that go beyond, you could say, just weight loss. I think as an industry, we've done such a good job treating the comorbidities associated with obesity, whether it's hypertension or dyslipidemia, type 2 diabetes as an example. But what about getting to the root of the problem? And then there still really is not a lot of good treatments in disease states like MASH. And you have, upwards of 30, 40, 50 million patients that are potentially living with elevated liver enzymes, not even aware of the risk that this has from a cardiovascular standpoint. So an opportunity to prevention of diseases like MASH is something that could very much be an important part of differentiation.
So you're in charge of U.S. operations for a global pharma company that's based in Europe. What does that what are some of the skills you need to sort of bring? They've been here, obviously. It's not like you're the first one to bring Boehringer Ingelheim to the United States, but what are some of the kind of specific considerations of your job when it comes to that regional aspect?
Yeah, so I've had the fortune in my career of working for European companies in the past, and also spending a considerable amount of my time in global marketing positions. So I lived and worked in Copenhagen, the headquarters for Novo Nordisk, over 2 different rotations for 8 years in a global position. And I think that one of the things that we have to understand is that, first off, we do take a US first approach at Boehringer. We do understand that there is more opportunity to drive value and therefore contribute more to our research and development by being successful in the US. So therefore, we need to take that US first, but we are German headquartered. So making sure that we have someone who's able to kind of bridge back to the corporate headquarters and help bring people along with some of the changes that happen in the US. The US is an incredibly important market, but it's still one market, and there's many other markets around the world. So I think having an appreciation of where the US fits into the global picture, that the US is always a priority, but this is a global company, having someone that has that experience to be able to kind of bridge between the two is what's absolutely needed for this job.
You mentioned that the pipeline goes beyond the cardiometabolic. What are some of the other parts of the pipeline that you're kind of the most excited about right now, or that you think we're going to see a lot of maybe news about in the coming years?
So this year we have 2 candidates that we hope to have approved. The first will be an entry back into oncology. And we have a product for non-small cell lung cancer with a HER2 mutation. Now that's kind of a rare disease within oncology, but I can tell you for patients that are living with this HER2 mutation, it's a punishing disease because you have lung disease and lung cancer in patients that are generally very, very healthy. I mean, think about the lung cancer in the patients that have done everything right and they have this HER2 mutation. Having a targeted therapy like zogertinib, which is the asset that is currently under review with the FDA, could bring a lot of hope for those patients. And then what it'll do is help us to get reestablished in oncology, and we do have future assets that we're able to bring in. The other area of innovation is in pulmonary fibrosis. Now, this is an area where we've been in interstitial lung disease for a decade, with OFET being the clear market leader in that space. And to be able to bring a new treatment, new advancement, the first advancement in a decade in that space is something that is super exciting. And then beyond 2026, we've already talked about obesity. But we do have another asset in cardiorenal metabolic, where we're doing a large phase 3 program in a compound called vicadrostat that will be combined with empagliflozin, which is the Jardiance molecule. So that's something that could really help patients with chronic kidney disease. And then last but not least, we're anxiously awaiting to get data from a major depressive disorder drug, and we're also looking to launch a digital therapeutic to help patients living with schizophrenia and eventually also patients with major depressive disorder. So, I mean, and that's just starting. I mean, there's even more to come beyond that.
Well, let's talk really briefly, the little time we have left, about digital therapeutics. That's obviously an area I think there's been a lot of ebb and flow in terms of the interest, and whether it's considered to be like a promising area or maybe kind of a dead end. And lately it feels like digital therapeutics has been having a bit of a bum rap. So tell me why you're excited about being in that space and why it's the right fit for that indication.
I mean, you're right about digital therapeutics. Now, I think the FDA's opinion on digital therapeutics is changing, and I think that's actually very positive in terms of more data being generated. The fact that we're looking to launch a digital therapeutic tells you everything you need to know about Boehringer, because I don't know, quite frankly, what the commercial model is going to be exactly for a digital therapeutic, particularly if it's on its own without a molecule to go along with it. However, we're going to learn a lot. And we also understand that if you're taking on mental health diseases like schizophrenia or major depressive disorder, that it isn't just about pharmacological therapy. It's about cognitive therapy. It's about using different tools to be able to really help the patient. So I think by having kind of a first launch with a digital therapeutic without really kind of tying a big commercial ambition to it, we're going to learn a lot. And then I think when we do get the molecules to kind of put together with it, that might be the combination to really kind of help break through, give hope to patients that are living with these mental health conditions that have largely been overlooked. I think the company that can do it is a company like Boehringer that has this, long range view, that's privately held, that can remain independent, that doesn't have to answer on a quarterly basis to shareholders in terms of, well, how are the sales going? We can be curious, we can innovate, we can, kind of learn as we go along. So that's what we hope to accomplish.
That's great, because I was going to end by asking you sort of what you think like really sets Boehringer apart, and so you sort of already hinted at that being private, being the agility that affords you. But as you think about kind of your new home, what do you think is like the elevator pitch for what makes Boehringer special?
People love this company. The culture is fantastic. And why do people love this company? Because of the commitment, first and foremost, to science, this ongoing investment in research and development, up to 25% of revenues on an annualized basis. The fact that we are independent, that does allow us to, not have to oscillate with market fluctuations, and that we can maintain this long-range view. And then last but not least, this company really means it when they talk about patient centricity. I have a major allergy to companies talking about putting the patient at the center, and then you see them make decisions where it's kind of like, is that really about the patient, or is it about maximizing revenues? I think this company really understands that if you do what's right for the patient and the provider, the profits will follow. And with those profits, you can invest in more research and development, and you can develop more innovative therapies. And that's why we talk about this kind of health for generations as kind of a tagline at Boehringer, and I think what separates us from many other companies.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for chatting with me, Brian. Really interesting stuff, and good luck with all the many things you're working on.
Thanks. I appreciate the opportunity. Great chatting with you.